what changed in the last decade, where the gap between the haves and have-nots has gotten so large that we're having teams lose all their games.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but if it comes down to the fact that their coaching is bad, I can't say that with the Dolphins because Brian Flores is a rookie head coach. So you can't say that this is a veteran coach who doesn't have the players buying into his system. I just think that there are so many people that want out of Miami that he basically has to start from the building block, the drawing board, and go, okay, who wants to be here to play? Like, who wants to be here? Because we got to have players that want to be here to play. And, yeah, we could go 0-16. Now, remember, we still got to play them again. Now, it'll be at home. I don't think that they'll beat us in New England, but still, we still got to play them one more time. So, again, like you said, you don't want to be that team that gives the win to a team that could possibly go 0-16. But in a weird way, as a football fan, as much as I am, as much as you are, I really honestly don't want to see somebody go 0-16. I really don't. Because it doesn't make the league look good, number one. Number two, whoever it is, their fan base gets just absolutely shellacked on social media. Oh, how can you be a fan of a team that is 0-16? Well, you know why? Because they're a true fan. And no matter if their team wins or loses, they're a fan. Yeah, my team went 0-16. Well, you know what? We get some high draft picks. That one guy, those two guys can make a whole bit of difference, and we don't win but 4 or 5 games the next season. But you know what? That's better than 0. And the next season we win 8 or 9 games in the playoffs. Better than 0. So I really honestly, Bud, I hate to see it when people don't have a win. So I hope the Dolphins get 1 win. I hope we don't have any teams that don't win this year. Hope everyone gets at least 1 win, because that would be great.
As long as it's not against us.
Right. They can win against the Bills or the Jets. Let them do that.
Yes.
Let them do that.
Yes.
That's fine with me. Let them beat a division opponent. Let that be the Jets or the Jets or the Bills. We play the Jets this week, but I don't see that being an issue for us.
I don't either.
But next week, we have the Bills are here. They could be undefeated coming into that game because they play the Bengals this week. I don't know. That could be a battle of 2 undefeated teams next week in Buffalo. So I don't know. That's going to be a good football game next week if that ends up happening that way.
Being a good football game, have you been keeping an eye on Tulane in Houston?
Is that game going on right now?
Yeah, it's a whale of a game. Tulane just scored to make it 20-27, pending the extra point just started the fourth quarter. It's been excellent.
Well, Tulane hammered actually both those teams hammered USF last year. Houston was the first team that knocked us off, and it was all downhill from there. I was at the Tulane game last year here in Tampa, and they steamballed us right from the get-go. So that's pretty good that those, because Houston got beat pretty handily last week. So I'm happy that they bounced back for at least the game, especially against Tulane. That's a good matchup for both those teams.
It was 28-7 earlier.
Okay.
It's been an excellent game.
They've come all the way back to tie the game. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, speaking of Tampa Bay, is it way too early for the preseason? Is that what it is, just early in the preseason? You're not playing the complement players? Yeah, for hockey.
Yeah, they have laid an egg the first 2 games. They played the Carolina Hurricanes, and they've been shut out in both games. And I was telling Lewis just a few minutes ago, but right before you got on here, that, to me, I know that the preseason in hockey doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't. But when you lose in the playoffs like they did last year, and you have a losing start to the preseason, you start to think to yourself, okay, what the heck is going on? Because I know, like I said, I know the preseason is usually a lot of rookies, a lot of prospects are put into the system because you're trying to get your backups to your main guys. I understand that. You don't put your main guys in the preseason. That comes later in the season, and I'll be there in a couple weeks when we open up against Florida on opening night on the 3rd. I just don't like the losing, the fact that this team has lost 6 games in a row to end the season, to start this season, and I got eaten alive today. Oh, what are you pressing the panic button for? And why are you saying John Cooper's going to get fired? First of all, I didn't say John Cooper was going to get fired over preseason. I said John Cooper was going to get fired if they don't get out of the first round of the playoffs. If they lose again like they did last year, he gets fired. There's no way that you can tell me that the team that the Lightning have, and we have one of the best teams in all the NHL, and we lose again in the first round. No, he gets fired. He gets fired. And, they're going to – it's funny in a weird way when you attack somebody, or not really attack somebody, but you say negative things about a team, they jump all over you. And then when you say positive things, you can't find those people. They're only waiting to give you that negative feedback. So the world has turned into keyboard cowboys. I'm going to use that term, where if you saw that person in person to their face, you're not saying that. But because they can hide behind their keyboard, they can hide behind social media, they can say whatever the damn well they want to say, and we have no say about it. Period. So.
Do you think if you're like 20, 18 and 7, like around Thanksgiving, could you see Cooper getting the axe?
Yeah, he could. I mean, like I said, to me, I don't know why Julian Breezewa, our general manager, signed him to an extension before we got knocked out of the playoffs by the Blue Jackets. Why he did that and didn't wait until after the playoffs were over, it's beyond me. I don't know. I'm not in his shoes. If you do fire him, we don't have anybody else. I mean, we don't have a coach in waiting. In our minor league, the team that's really set up, from what I'm understanding from a lot of the NHL, brass and a lot of people that follow hockey more than I do, the team that's set up to say they have to let their head coach go is Toronto. Mike Babcock could get the axe, but their minor league coach for the Marlies can come right in there and fill that void, and the Maple Leafs wouldn't miss a beat. And I really think when it all comes down to it at the end of the season, they're going to be the thorn in the side of the Lightning. Boston maybe possibly, but I think Toronto will be that team that could put a damper on the Lightning winning the division again. I think the Panthers will be better this year because of their head coach. They'll be a better team this year. Detroit, the Wings will be a little bit better. They still have a long way to go, but you got Stevie Y. So trust me, the kingdom has been damaged, but the kingdom will be put back together in a few years, because just give him some time like he did here, and the Wings will be back to where they were in the 90s and early 2000s. But yeah, I mean, Montreal, the Canadiens they're a mess. Boston, they're getting older. Buffalo, maybe. Buffalo might be the iffy team, but I mean, really, being that it's preseason, it's hard to do that.
And we're literally 2 games into the preseason, so we don't know nothing about nothing yet.
Right, exactly. We don't, like I said, yeah. I mean, we could sit there and say, oh, well, they've lost 2 games and they're going to have a losing season. No, because you could lose every game in
No.
the preseason and win the first 15. Who
Yeah.
knows?
And
I mean, yeah.
I didn't think that's what you were saying. I just was curious what your comments were about. That's all. I just kind of wanted to see
Yeah.
what you had to say.
Well, I mean, like I said, but I got eaten alive for saying that we've lost the first 2 preseason games. And like I said, they didn't read the comment. I said John Cooper would get fired if we don't make it out of the first round of the playoffs, not because he's lost 2 preseason games. They don't. He's not really even coaching anybody. He's just putting prospects out there to see, okay, who is the next wave of talent that we have. These kids are going to go to Orlando or to Norfolk, or I mean not Norfolk, Syracuse, excuse me. So it's hard to say about but
putting them in scenarios and seeing what they do in an actual game scenario. So you have some tape and you just decide. And a lot of these guys are probably not even going to make, or probably going to go back to junior hockey. If they don't, if they don't go to the AHL, they'll head back to junior hockey. They'll play major junior hockey for another year or 2, and then they might join the AHL squad.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, some of these kids that you see here are going to go back to Orlando, which is kind of like, if you want to perspect it, it's kind of like Double-A in baseball. You're down to the Double-A level.
I figured as much.
The AHL is, the Triple-A level. So you're either going to go to Syracuse or you're going to go to Orlando, because we used to have a team down south in South Florida, but now we moved our affiliate to Orlando, which is good because I believe the Lightning play 1 preseason game a year in Orlando where the Magic play basketball. So it gives the Orlando fans a chance to see the Tampa team. I mean, a lot of people believe that if hockey didn't make it here in Tampa, which it has, that it would fit well in Orlando, because Orlando, again, is just like Vegas, not as big as Vegas, but it's like Vegas. It's a tourist town. So it continuously brings people in and out. But to me, I think Orlando is a basketball town. It always will.
It really does seem like a basketball town, doesn't it?
Yeah. It will always be that way with the Magic. The Magic have been there forever. I don't see hockey being, I mean, like I said, they have minor league hockey there with the Solar Bears. But other than that, it's not a hockey town. I mean, Tampa, the Lightning are the premier franchise in this area. The Bucks and Rays are far, far away from catching up to the Lightning, as far as they were saying that today, that, 10 years ago, you could buy a ticket to the Lightning game for jump change. Now you can't find a ticket at all for any game.
Right.
So that's how much the Jeff Vinnick and the ownership has made. They rank the Lightning the best team in all of sports as far as, fan favorite and, easily accessible and stuff like that. They've transformed that into the best team in all the pro sports. So when you have ownership, I think that, to me, honestly, when it starts there. If you have a great owner that cares about the fans, cares about the players, the team is going to succeed. If you don't, then they suck. And that's the Bucks and that's the Rays. When your ownership doesn't care about your fans, then it's just that way. And the Rays are the worst for that. Again, the rumor is still floating around that they're going to move to Montreal. That could happen. That could happen in a couple years. They have until 2024. They have a lease with the city of St. Pete, which is where I work, and